And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call the studio directly at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer with his series, The American Grid. He's going to talk about the California Angels, that's for one thing, and then the rest of it is kind of a surprise. I know what it is, but we'll surprise you with it. My special guest is Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. He's going to be talking about what's new in wireless services and technology. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. But before that, I want you to know that 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now, you heard me promise you the news, and I'm going to give it to you right now. The 10 things that you need to know for today. It's your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about all day today. And first up, Obama, Islamic State's defeat requires a long-term campaign. At the UN, the president hosts a gathering of world leaders working to expand the fight against their terror group. But there's little agreement on how to proceed. And the GOP lawmakers grill Planned Parenthood leader. The Women's Health Organization is under fire in the wake of stealthy recorded videos made by abortion foes posing as private purchasers of fetus organs. And the Taliban tighten the grip on key Afghan city. Afghan ground troops sent to retake Kunduz get help from the United States airstrikes, but are stalled by ambushes and roadblocks. And YVW, that's Volkswagen, and other automakers have tried to cheat emissions tests. Complying with clean air regulations can add thousands of dollars to a vehicle sticker price while diminishing driving performance. And who attracts 625,000 Twitter followers hours after joining? Well, Edward Snowden, the exiled whistleblower who leaked classified documents about U.S. government surveillance, is following just one account, the NSA. Go figure, right? You could have known that right up front. Now, how about this? Kevin McCarthy works to clinch the House Speaker's post. The California Republican moves to lock up support to move into Congress's top job a week after John Boehner announces his departure. And first trial in Freddie Gray case set for November the 30th. That's only 2 months from now. Officer William Porter is one of 6 Baltimore cops who face charges in the death of Gray, a black man who died a week after he was handcuffed, shackled, and put in a police van. And Mormon Museum features polygamy exhibit. Well, go figure. I would think that it probably would anyway. A church leader says the display acknowledges that plural marriage was a fact of life for the early Mormon church. And top United States intelligence official not hopeful on China cyber deal. James Clapper says he's not optimistic that an agreement the U.S. recently struck with China will effectively deter state-sponsored cyber attacks. Why would he think they would? I don't get that at all. Well, let's get to one last one here, and that is where the nation's first marijuana resort may open. Think about it. Where do you think? You're wrong. In South Dakota, Santee Sioux tribal leaders plan to grow their own pot and sell it in a smoking lounge that includes a nightclub, arcade games, bar, and food service. Now you know for sure where it's going to be, right? Well, let's get into a little more in-depth. I got news for you. I've got good news for you. There's no shutdown today. Congress approves a bill to keep the government open. Just hours before a midnight deadline, a bitterly divided Congress approved a stopgap spending bill today to keep the federal government open, but with no assurance there won't be yet another shutdown showdown in December. The Democrats helped beleaguered House Republican leaders pass the measure by 277 to 151. By the way, that 151, they were all Republicans. A lopsided vote shrouding deep disagreements within the GOP after the Senate approved it by a 78-20 tally earlier in the day. The vote sent to the bill to President Barack Obama for his signature. Now, approval of such stopgap measures used to be routine, but debate this year exposed acrimonious divisions between pragmatic Republicans such as the House Speaker John Boehner and more junior lawmakers in the party's Tea Party wing who are less inclined to compromise. The Tea Partiers had demanded that the must-pass measure be used to punish Planned Parenthood, stripping it of federal money because of its practice of supplying tissue from aborted fetuses for scientific research. House Republicans opposed the measure by a clear margin, but Democratic support was unanimous. The legislation finances the government through December the 11th, providing 10 weeks to negotiate a more wide-ranging budget deal that would carry past the 2016 presidential election. But the talks promised to be difficult, and success is not ensured. Boehner's resigning from Congress at the end of October, a decision he announced last week after informing Republicans that he would not risk a government shutdown over Planned Parenthood. A similar fight over implementing Obama's health care law sparked a 16-day shutdown 2 years ago that Boehner, Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, and other top Republicans did not want to repeat in an election season. McConnell is seeking to protect embattled incumbents in Democratic-leaning states such as Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, while some GOP conservatives are more apt to use the battle to appeal to the party's core voters on the right. Now, having said that, do not go away, because when we come back, I have some more in-depth news for you. And the first up is Russia begins airstrikes in Syria, but the West disputes the targets. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking news. First off, Russia begins airstrikes in Syria, but the West disputes those targets. Russia launched airstrikes today in Syria, sharply escalating Moscow's role in the conflict, but also raising questions about whether its intent is fighting Islamic State militants or protecting longtime ally President Bashar Assad. President Vladimir Putin called it a preemptive strike against the militants, and the Russian Defense Ministry said its warplanes targeted and destroyed 8 positions belonging to extremists from the IS group, also known as ISIL or ISIS. It did not give specific locations, but French Defense Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian told lawmakers in Paris, curiously, they didn't hit Islamic State. I will let you draw a certain number of conclusions yourselves. U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter also said the Russians appeared to have targeted areas that did not include IS militants and complained Moscow did not use formal channels to give advance notice of its airstrikes to Washington, which is conducting its own airstrikes in Syria against the Islamic State group. He said the Russians should not be supporting the Assad government, and the military moves are doomed to fail. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said Washington was prepared to welcome Russian military action in Syria as long as it is directed against IS and other al-Qaeda affiliates, but would have grave concerns if it conducted strikes against other groups. Well, the U.S. and Russia both agree on the need to fight the Islamic State, but not about what to do with Assad. The Syrian civil war, which grew out of an uprising against Assad, has killed more than 250,000 people since March of 2011 and sent millions of refugees fleeing to other countries in the Middle East and Europe. Russia's first airstrikes in Syria came after Putin met Monday with President Barack Obama on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York, where they discussed Moscow's military buildup in the country. Obama had said the U.S. and Russia could work together on a political transition, but only if the result was Assad's departure. Well, we can kind of see where that's going. Tell them anything and do what you want, I think. That's probably where that goes, don't you think? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Well, there's an investigation about the Secret Service tried to discredit a U.S. lawmaker. Duh. That wouldn't, it seems to me that wouldn't be very hard to do, but let me tell you about it. Scores of U.S. Secret Service employees improperly assessed and the decade-old unsuccessful job application of a congressman who was investigating scandals inside the agency. A new government report said just today. An assistant director suggested leaking embarrassing information to retaliate against Representative Jason Chaffetz, a Republican from Utah, chairman of the House Oversight Committee. The actions by the employee could represent criminal violations under the U.S. Privacy Act, said the report by the Homeland Security Department's Inspector General, John Roth. It doesn't take a lawyer explaining the nuances of the Privacy Act to know that the conduct that occurred here by dozens of agents in every part of the agency was wrong, the report said. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson personally apologized to Chavez again today. The congressman told the Associated Press in an interview on Capitol Hill, Johnson did not disclose whether any employees had been punished. It's intimidating, Chavez said. It's what it was supposed to be. Yeah, intimidating? Yeah. Well, it's not that he shouldn't get some intimidation, for Pete's sake. I don't want to tell you what I think of Chavez, but, neither here nor there. He's a guy that really doesn't do his homework, deserves kind of the punishment that he gets. Well, U.S. airstrikes back Afghan push to retake the city from Taliban. Afghan troops backed by U.S. airstrikes massed Tuesday on the outskirts of the key northern city seized by the Taliban in the buildup for what is likely to be a long and difficult campaign to drive out the insurgents. Despite the overnight U.S. bombing of Taliban positions, the militants extended their gap on Kunduz, forcing government forces to retreat from a strategic fortress hilltop and giving the insurgents a vantage point overlooking the city. The airport remained the only pocket of resistance to the militant onslaught, which began with a coordinated attack Monday that took the government, military, and intelligence agencies by surprise. At least 3 U.S. airstrikes had targeted Taliban fighters near the city by early Wednesday. U.S. Army spokesman Colonel Brian Trebus said the U.S. and NATO coalition advisors, including special forces, were also at the scene in the Kunduz area advising Afghan security forces. He denied reports that they were fighting on the ground, stressing that forces were there in a non-combat train and assist role, but these are dangerous situations, and if they need to defend themselves, they will, Trebus added. Well, I guess you can kind of read between the lines with that if you think about it, right? Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. Oh, how about this? Abbas says Palestinians no longer bound by pacts with Israel. Here's one. Palestinian President Mohammed Abbas declared before world leaders today that he's no longer bound by agreements signed by Israel and called on the United Nations to provide international protection for Palestinians in the most serious warning yet that he might walk away from the engagement with the Jewish state. Abbas, however, stopped short of accompanying his threat with a deadline or giving any specifics, leaving room for diplomatic maneuvers to refocus the world's attention on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Abbas did not say how he will move forward. He also avoided mentioning a mainstay of Israeli-Palestinian relations, security coordination between his security forces and Israeli forces in the West Bank against a shared enemy, the Islamic militant group Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was quick to denounce Abbas's speech. In a statement issued by his office, Netanyahu said, Abbas' speech of lies encourages incitement and unrest in the Middle East. Netanyahu called on Abbas to act responsibly and answer his proposal for direct negotiations with Israel without any preconditions. Well, we can see where that's going, right? I would certainly think so. Well, finally, let's deal with this. The latest. Libya sets conditions for approving a peace deal. The latest developments from the annual meeting of the United Nations General Assembly, where world leaders are grappling with a multitude of global crises, including the fight against terrorism, the Islamic State in particular, and easing the refugee crisis in the Middle East and North America. And that's exactly what's going on. The leader of Libya's parliament is telling the UN gathering in his internationally recognized government will not accept any peace deal that steps back from what the majority of parties have already agreed on so far. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine. And the first case is earned income credit is available even if it's just for your niece. I'll tell you all about it. The rest of these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? a professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? I don't know about you guys, but this just sends chills up and down my spine. I love this part of the show. So you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. The first case is Earned Income Credit, they call it EIC, is available for nieces. So let me explain. Matthew Gilmore was 19 years old and lived in an apartment with his mother, 3 sisters, and 2 children of one of his sisters. He had a job, helped support the family, and cared for his nieces for whom he claimed an earned income credit. But the IRS denied the credit, and he went to tax court for some justice, and this is what the court said. To qualify Matthew for the earned income credit, the children must meet age, residence, and relationship tests. As minors who lived with him, they met the first 2. As nieces, they met the relationship test if he cared for them as his own children. So here's what the ruling was. As the oldest male of the family who both cared for and worked to support them, he did so and thus gets that credit. And just in case you think that's something small, it was close to $5,000. That, my folks, is a big, big deal. Well, let's talk about one more case. The IRS loses. Payments to teachers who give up tenure are not subject to employment tax. Yep, you heard me right. Listen to this. Under an early retirement program, teachers in a school district gave up their tenure rights to employment in exchange for cash payments. The IRS said the payments were earned through employment and thus subject to employment tax, which it had the district actually withhold. The teachers sued for refunds, and this is what the court actually had to say. When at-will employee who can be dismissed at any time is given a severance bonus, it is taxable wages. But here, payment was made in exchange for the surrender of valuable legal rights, not in exchange for labor. So, the payments were not wages, and refunds were granted. No employment tax. Let me give you one more here. The IRS loses. Was told of a new address. You laughing? Wait till you hear this. Thomas Hunter moved and filed an IRS power of attorney form that told the IRS to send copies of all tax notices to his accountant and gave his new address. But the IRS sent a deficiency notice only to his old address. Hunter said he never received it, so it was invalid. The IRS answered that Hunter had never filed an IRS Form 8822, change of address form, and general correspondence sent to it containing a new address does not serve as one. So, the notice is valid. Or was not valid. The notice was valid. I'm sorry. So here's what the tax court actually had to say about it. The power of attorney is not general correspondence and has been held many times by the court to notify the IRS of a change of address, often at the IRS's own insistence. So the notice is absolutely valid. The change takes place, and the IRS, can go suck air, boy. I'll tell you that. You know what? Don't you just love it when the IRS loses one? God, I do. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? Well, that's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Oh, yeah. These are the things. These are not actually tax court cases, but these do set precedents. It's things that the IRS has done that have set a precedence out there that you want to know about. And so let's get right to that. The first one up is watch your back when the IRS tells you that it's got a good deal for you. Boy, oh boy, is that an understatement? The good deal comes in the form of a letter that advises you to accept the terms of a global settlement that the IRS is offering. Hang on one second here. There we go. We got this thing. There we go. We got that handled. So let me turn that speaker off so you don't get that feedback. Anyway, so the IRS is offering to taxpayers who are involved in a common issue. Now, let me give you an example of that. Thousands of taxpayers were found to have maintained offshore bank accounts. They reported neither the money deposited into the accounts nor the interest earned on them. The IRS offered many of those taxpayers a last chance to avoid huge penalties if they disclosed their wrongdoing. Here's the strategy. If the IRS tries to entice you into a global settlement, speak to a knowledgeable tax attorney who understands the IRS's limitations before deciding whether to accept. It's important to find out exactly what facts and evidence are in the possession of the IRS to determine whether it can prove its case against you. So always use a licensed professional. Don't even think about going in the other direction. And let me give you one more before we go to a commercial break. IRS audit traps. Suppose that in the course of an audit, an agent asks you to question and you don't understand why they're asking the question. What to do? Ask the agent why he or she wants to know. Don't answer any such question until you receive an understandable and acceptable answer from the agent. Let me give you an example of that. The agent asks where you went on vacation last year. Well, why would he want to know such a thing? He's probably trying to ascertain your standard of living and how the amount of income that you reported on your tax return jives with your confessed lifestyle. Be careful about offering an answer that may be incriminating. Consult with your lawyer. make sure you're always using a licensed professional. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. And Joel, he's always got great stuff for us, so we'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 101 degrees. You talk about hot. I know we got some hot news coming from our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, welcome aboard.
Hey, Robert, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Gee, you sound like you've been taking happy pills.
Well, you know what? It's beautiful out here, so I'm pretty happy. I got tons of good news, and what's to be sad about?
Okay, so here's the deal. I told you it was 101 degrees here earlier. It's 93 degrees here now. Out there in God's country, where you've got the ocean and you've got the ocean breezes and you've got surfboard and stuff. What's the temperature out there? And did you actually dip into the ocean today?
It was so warm, I got into the ocean today, and I didn't wear any I just wore trunks, no rash guards, no wetsuits. It was so hot. It was like Florida. I've never seen the ocean this warm.
Wow, sounds fantastic.
But it was beautiful. I think the temperatures are probably in the low 80s today down here, so.
Wow, that's got to be
just
perfect.
What the doctor ordered.
I was going to say, that's got to be perfect for you, right?
It is. And have I got some interesting stuff for you? I have so much stuff that I don't even know what to hit you with. So I'm
sitting here with weighted breath. Hit me with it, buddy. Hit me with it.
All right. We got Edward Snowden news. We got How about this? We got a couple in Oregon who were charged $2 million for 1 month of service by Verizon.
Oh, really? Did they think that was exorbitant, or did they think they got a deal?
Well, they knew they were going to be paying for quality service, but they had no idea it was going to be to that extent.
Well, you know what? I'd go straight out and just shoot myself, Yeah,
well, this is pretty amazing. This poor couple in November went and got 2 phones. They were told their bill would be $120. They got a bill for $698, and it showed a previous balance of $451. So they did their best to argue it down. They got it down to $9, and then they said, "The heck with this." They canceled the service in December, returned the phones to Verizon. But the customer service reps, agree there's a mistake. Everything went to collection. This guy's saying his bank won't sign off on a new mortgage that he and his girlfriend are trying to buy their dream house. It's been a nightmare for this guy.
Oh, you know what? I think he just needs a really, really good attorney, because I think Verizon just bought him a new house.
I think they may have.
Yeah.
So. But anyhow, I thought that was interesting. I have something else interesting. Have you downloaded iOS 9 yet?
I have.
All right. Well,
and 9.1. I'm loving it.
Well, you better be careful, because if I recall, you're with AT&T, was it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, know this.
Oh, wait a minute. You're gonna stop my heart now, aren't you?
I'm not going to stop it, but you're going to be very careful in the future. You're gonna go into your settings menu as soon as we get done with this.
Uh-huh.
There's a setting in the new iOS 9 called Wi-Fi Assist, and what it does is if you're trying to download something on Wi-Fi and you have a weak signal and your phone deems that the cellular signal is stronger, it automatically changes to cellular, which for me is wonderful. I have an unlimited plan, and that's what I would prefer to do. But if I was on a fixed data plan, I would not be loving life if my phone would do that and not notify me, and I got hit with a big bill. So you can turn off Wi-Fi Assist in the settings menu, which you may want to do, and any of your listeners who have Verizon, AT&T, or anybody who charges for data overage, this could be a bad thing for those folks.
So what makes you think I'm going to wait to do that?
Well, you're doing it right now.
You're damn straight.
And I wouldn't blame you. Now, you said, that Apple's Mac OS 10, El Capitan, I think they're calling it, is now available for free download. Mm-hmm. So any Apple users out there that want the latest and greatest Mac OS 10 software can get it for free. Just go to the Mac App Store and click on their link. We'll put it up on our website as well. Here's one right up my alley, Robert. You'll like this one. In Australia, they're using smartphones to ward off shark attacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. I come from the shark attack capital of the world, Florida. We have more shark attacks than everywhere else in the world combined. But fortunately, they're usually small sharks, and they're like dog bites. There aren't that many fatalities. Australia wins for fatalities. They've had 13 fatalities this year just on the East Coast. Or not 13, I'm sorry, let me correct that. 13 attacks, 1 fatality, but their attacks are bad because they're great white sharks as big as school buses.
Jesus.
So here's what's interesting. They're going to use drones. They're going to use cell phones. They're going to use electric fences. They're using shark detecting smart buoys that send a text message to the lifeguards on their smartphone every time a big shark is nearby and they need to clear the water of swimmers. It's pretty amazing. I mean, everybody knows Australia, is renowned for its deadly wildlife. But, I'd be more worried about their snakes and their spiders than their sharks, but it's the sharks who get all the attention. But anyhow, so there you're seeing new technology being applied to an age-old problem.
You know what? Let me ask you, I want to go back to this AT&T thing. When we're talking about the settings for the Wi-Fi assist, how can they do that without telling you?
Well, they probably do tell you. I mean, if you read every change and nobody, reads, it's that thing, like when you always click I agree and you don't read it.
Yeah.
Because it's pages and pages of 2-point font that you have to have a magnifying glass and a lot of patience to read. And there's not a darn thing you can do about it anyway. If you want to use the iPhone, you agree. If you don't want to use the iPhone, you don't agree.
Right.
So it's what my dad used to call the golden rule. When you got the gold, you can make the rule.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is the golden rule.
Gold.
Yep, that is the golden rule. He who has the gold
makes the rule.
Makes the rule.
Anyhow, the good news on the iPhone 6S, and for anybody out there who wants one, I got deals from all of the carriers, but they've done a teardown, and they're showing that Apple's now paying for longevity. They're not skimping on components as they used to, and that these phones are far better made than they ever were. They're using Gorilla Glass 4. They're using special waterproof technology. They're using a new, stronger aluminum. And they realize the devices will last longer and the resale value will be higher. So, I think it's a good thing. They determined that these phones cost Apple $232, in parts to make.
Oh,
so, I thought that was interesting.
$232 in parts to make?
Yeah, for like a 6S.
Wow.
6S, 16 gig. The calculation is $232 in parts, so the rest is labor and, patents and profit.
Oh yeah, it's profit. But I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised that it's even that high. I would have thought that with the millions and millions of these things they're selling, that their costs would have been just even below that.
Well, I guess, you got to pay to play when you're buying the best parts.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
how about this one? Do you have Facebook?
I do.
Of course you do. Everybody with social media does. Did you get sucked in the $5.99?
No.
Okay.
No.
You didn't. You had to post something, that said that you don't approve for Facebook. I did.
Yeah.
I figured, I got nothing to lose. All my friends did, and I figured it's crap anyway. But what? It didn't cost me anything, so I put up for what it's worth. I don't authorize Facebook to use any of my, material, photos, content, whatever. But bottom line is, it's all a hoax. Facebook never announced that they're planning on charging users $5.99 to make their status updates private. This is just it's an internet hoax. It's going around like crazy, and I'm an idiot. I always go to Snopes before I do anything.
Well, Joel, I'm sorry. You always go to what? Smokes?
Snopes, Snopes.
Oh, Snopes.
Snopes.com, and they will tell you any rumors or whatever they validate right then and there. This has been going around for 6 years. It's BS. Don't listen to it. And I didn't even check Snopes on this, and sure enough, that was the case.
I've got to tell you, this just happened to me not 5 minutes before I went on the air today, Joel. I got one of these phone calls. I got it on my home phone, which is an unlisted number, and it's the Microsoft Service Center. Now, this same fella, his name is Steven, called me 2 weeks ago with this same BS, right? And I've got a professional handling my stuff, but when he called, I wasn't sure what the heck was going on, so I actually called Microsoft, and they informed me that this was a big scam, and you're already aware of what's going on here. But basically, I was so incensed that it was, like I said, it was about 5 minutes before I went on the air. I spent 4.5 of those minutes reaming this guy with a language that he's probably never heard before.
What was it kind of a?
They've noticed that they've noticed that he's from Microsoft. They've noticed that your operating system is not working at its optimum. They want permission to access your operating system and what they're going to do is they're going to capture this thing and they're going.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to take all your personal information, your passwords.
And so, and I said, are you out of your mind? The guy's name is Steve. I said, are you out of your mind? Something into those different words. And I said, you just called me 2 weeks ago, you bop, and I got about 4.5 minutes in it before he finally gave up and hung up. Not surprising.
Well, Well, hey, how about this one? Did you hear Apple that has to pay $4.2 million to LA Unified School District for their botched iPad program?
Yeah. You know what?
How about that?
Yeah. You know what? And it's not enough.
It isn't enough. 640,000 students were supposed to get these iPads. Apple was going to make 30. It was actually a $1.3 billion project, and they were supposed to earn $30 million of that $1.3 billion in profit. Yeah. So obviously, they had a major incentive. Lenovo was the other company that was involved in this project, and what they did is, I guess they had ordered, I think it was $2.2 million worth of laptops. LAUSD had ordered, and they're giving them to them. They said, "Look, you know what? Keep the laptops."
And boy, you know what? That probably is going to save them millions of dollars, not cost them millions of dollars. That little move.
Well, it probably will, because you know what? People are going to use that brand, get comfortable with that brand in school, and then going to go out and they're going to buy them.
Yeah, and not only that, but do you know what it would cost them to pay for the freight to send all that stuff back, rehab them, redo them?
I know.
They're better off giving them. But I'm waiting for. You mentioned it, and I'm still waiting for you to hit the one that's going to hit the nail on the head. The brand new Twitter account that you were alluding to.
Well, you knew I was going to hit that. You heard about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. 24 hours, and Edward Snowden hits 1 million users. He opened a Twitter account about this time yesterday. He's got 1 million users today.
And he's only following one account. Do you remember who it was? NSA. He's only.
I do remember. Yeah, and I do know. I know that he said something about, and now we've got water on Mars. Do you think they check passports at the border? I'm asking for a friend.
Well, it's interesting because I'm going to be talking to Ray Mailer in the segment after yours, and he's going to be talking about. He's been talking about water and the California drought and stuff like that. And I happened to see this, I can't remember which talk show I was watching, but they were making a big deal out of the fact that, we found water on Mars, but we can't find any water in California.
Amazing. Well, before I forget, Robert, I want to leave my contact info in case anybody wants more information on what we're talking about. I have all of this on our website at www.drwireless.com. We also have this on our blog, drwireless.com/blog, and I can also be reached at joel@drwireless.com.
And we've been talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. We'll be right back with Joel after these brief messages. Do not go away. You don't want to miss what this man has to say. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, you've got the microphone.
All right, Robert. Well, let's talk about Apple again. I heard today that they just killed 3 apps. They removed 3 apps, the app police, from their stores. 2 of them had to do with drone strike apps. Yes, there's an app for that. If you wanted to track, the number of deaths caused by U.S. drone strikes in countries like Yemen, Somalia, Pakistan, there used to be an app up until today for that.
Really?
There used to be 2 apps, Metadata Plus, and the other one I think was called Ephemeral Plus. But they basically provided alerts on deaths from these U.S. drone attacks, but Apple thought it was objectionable content and decided to pull them. So both of these apps are no longer available. I hate hearing about these things because I always want to download them as soon as I hear about them, and usually when I hear about them, they're being pulled.
Yes, and it's too late, right?
Too late for this one. The train has left the station on this one. The other one, which is, the other one, which is kind of not totally surprising, have you ever heard of iFixit?
That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
All right. Well, they have an iOS app and a developer account, and basically their, company is known for tearing apart gadgets, and helping everyone understand the inner workings. And they've done this with MacBooks, Apple Watches, Android phones, digital cameras, all kinds of stuff. But apparently, Apple sent them, I don't know if they sent them, this company acquired one of these Apple TVs, the new one, and took it apart, and Apple did not like it.
Oh, reverse engineer, they're a reverse engineering company.
Yeah, I guess what happened is, Apple was aware of what they're doing, but they did a recent teardown of the latest Apple TV, and I guess Apple hadn't released all the specs on this yet, and they're a little bit angry with this company. So, don't know how well that's going to go, but they're pretty much out of the picture. They're done. So they got taken down.
Well, but you know what? I'll tell you what. I believe in free trade. I believe in, people who work hard should reap the rewards. And I don't blame Apple for wanting to put an end to that thing. I mean, they develop all this new technology. They have a right to market that, at least for a reasonable amount of time, in a safe manner, so they can reap back the rewards and the profits that pay for that research and development.
I couldn't agree more. And here's your argument. Google just unveiled new devices to connect smartphones to TV. They're taking a different approach than Apple. Apple was selling a device that was $150, and it pretty much was a small computer with lots of storage apps, to run on a TV. Mm-hmm. What Google's doing is they're offering something called Chromecast that only costs $35, and it's just kind of like a waypoint between TVs and phones, but it accomplishes the same thing.
Oh.
So,
see, so
this is why Apple's concerned about protecting proprietary information, because there's competition out there that wants to do it for cheaper.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what capitalism's all about, Joel.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. We also
before you do that, I've got to make a short announcement, and it's only going to take a second. I want to remind those folks that are with the 405 Media Radio that you're going to be leaving us here in a couple of minutes, and you only get us for an hour. But if you want to pick us up for the remaining hour, just go to Spreaker.com and do a search for Robert Cardoza Live, or get my app and just go to GooglePlay.com if you're on Android or Windows, or go to the iOS App Store and look up Robert Cardoza Live. You can get the app and you can listen to us 24/7, live and archives. In the meantime, don't forget to join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Joel.
Well, I just wanted to point out all your merchants out there that are taking credit cards probably know about this. But the credit card companies now have these new credit cards with, it looks like a SIM card, actually.
Oh, I've got one, and I've run into the machines, but most of the machines I'm running into aren't working yet.
Well, here is the significance to that. I don't have the new machines either. And here's the problem with that, and a lot of people don't know this. Until merchants like myself get these machines, we are now responsible for all fraud. If we do not use the new machine and just take the card conventionally and it's fraud, the merchant's going to get charged back and totally responsible.
Wow.
So this is a big problem. This new technology just went into place, but merchants don't realize that they're responsible, and many of the banks have a backlog of getting out these new process machines that accept this new technology. So there's a little window here where people are going to have to be very, very careful of when accepting credit cards.
Yeah. You know what? And as a consumer, I'm all over this. I'm all over it. But as a business person, they could have rolled this out a lot more efficiently.
I agree. And before we run out of time, I just wanted to let everybody know, Sprint has just announced to me they're going to be raising their unlimited data plans by $10.
Hey, wait, you know what? It was 2 weeks ago we were talking about Sprint and these fantastic deals they were having, and I was saying, well, how long is that going to last, Joel? They're going to come around and they're going to say, well, if we do it to everybody, we can do it to everybody. And here we go. They're raising their data plan by $10.
It's going to last until October 16th. So anybody who wants in on the old rate, I will grandfather them so they do not go up October 16th. But anybody who signs up October 17th is going to pay $10 more than anybody who signed up on the 16th or before. So fair warning. And now let me put it this way. I could care less if they've gone up $10. And I'll tell you why. Because unlimited data, unlimited 4G data, as far as I'm concerned, is priceless.
Yeah.
You cannot buy it from Verizon. You cannot buy it from AT&T. You can buy it from T-Mobile, and you can buy it from Sprint. And how long that's going to last, I do not know. But, people are finding out with these new LTE phones that the more data you have, the better.
Yeah.
And I always recommend, get a phone that has at least 64 gigabytes. Because you're going to need it eventually.
Well, let me ask you. You started the show off talking about the Wi-Fi assist thing. Would this unlimited data plan just make that a moot issue?
It makes it moot, of course. That's the whole beauty of unlimited data. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want when you have unlimited data. I told you, I watch these surfing events all day long sometimes, streaming them from my iPhone. Mm-hmm. I could care less. I'm not going to run out of data. I'm not going to be slowed down. I use data as I do on my big computer with Time Warner at home. And that's why anybody who has these limitations or who gets slowed down or who has to worry about, oh, can I watch this? I better not because I'm about ready to run out of data. Who needs that?
Yeah. Yeah, nobody.
That's just my feeling on it. If you can get unlimited data and not pay an arm and a leg, it doesn't hurt to have it. Well, it never hurts to have too much memory. It never hurts to have too much data. It does hurt if you have not enough of either.
Well, we were talking about capitalism just a little bit earlier, and doesn't this kind of lead us into the situation where the other providers or carriers are going to have to compete? If they're going to compete, they're going to have to go this route too?
No, they won't do it because they're convinced that it's not viable and it's not sustainable. So they're going to do everything they can to not do it. They'll offer other stuff. Maybe they're going to offer you free streaming music. Maybe they're going to offer you some video content that doesn't count against your data, but they are definitely not going to offer you unlimited data. I'm pretty sure that I can say the day of unlimited data with the two 800-pound gorillas is done.
So what guarantees do people have that if they make this switch over to, let's just say Sprint, for example, that a year from now that they're not going to have this plan canceled?
The only guarantee that they have is they're going to die and they're going to pay taxes. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah.
There is no cell phone guarantees. Yeah. I can only tell you from my past experience that generally when you go on a plan, especially a contract plan. Let's say you go on a 2-year contract, which we still have with Verizon and we still have with Sprint, and I believe AT&T still has. You go on a 2-year plan, what happens is once that 2 years is up, and AT&T learned this the hard way. I think we talked about this once. About 10 years ago when I represented AT&T, they used to offer free nights and weekends. And what would happen is when your contract ended, your free nights and weekends went away. Yeah. So month 25, if you averaged an $80 bill, month 25, you had a $200 bill because you were paying for all those free nights and weekends. And people would go ballistic. They'd get their bill on a Friday. It would ruin their weekend. They'd call Monday morning. And the carrier would simply, AT&T would say, oh, yes, well, you finished your contract. If you're willing to renew it for 2 years, we'll be happy to eat that cost and give you your feature back. So what happened is after that, the rest of the carriers realized, you know what, not a good thing to let people know when their contracts are up because then they're going to want new phones. They're going to want to go to other carriers. Why don't we just dummy up month 25 and bill them as usual? And it's a win-win for us because we're building in $27, for their subsidized phone that we told them they're getting a free $450 credit on. So if they continue to pay month 25, 26, 27, we'll give them the same deal and we're making an extra $27. So the carriers realize better to dummy up and leave everything the same and not change anything. So that's why if you go on a contract and it's an unlimited plan, there's a very, very small possibility that the carrier is going to say, oh, by the way, we're taking away your plan.
Yeah.
Now, they may say, oh, by the way, you want to upgrade to that iPhone 6 Plus? Well, that's not compatible with the plan you have. So they may pull that, but they're not going to pull the rug underneath you, with your existing phone.
Well, listen, we got 1 minute, Joel. So don't forget to leave yourself some time for your contact information.
All right, I'll do that. I just wanted to say one other thing. I was reading about some knucklehead who went into, on day one, went into an iPhone store, an Apple store to buy an iPhone. He spent 5 hours in there. He said that the first 40 people in line had FICO scores anywhere from 700 to 850, and all of them were declined for credit.
Oh, you're kidding!
Had to walk out because there was a glitch in the Apple processing system. So I laugh at all these people that got to be the first guy on the block because they're going to have the problems. They could have called Joel, and Joel could have shipped the device, had the carrier of their choice ship the device to their home or office, never have to leave their driveway, never have to deal with this stuff. We do everything over the phone.
Well, to call Joel, they got to have a phone number.
And that phone number is 310-400-4900. They can email me at joel at D as in David, R as in Rabbit, wireless.com. Or they can visit our website, www.drwireless.com.
Hey, Joel, fantastic show, my friend. And I look forward to listening to you next Tuesday. Or Wednesday. How about Wednesday?
Out there next Wednesday.
All right, buddy. You take care. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:07 p.m. Pacific time, currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy's waiting in the wings. Let's give him a proper introduction and get him in here.
This American pie drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, "This'll be the day that I die."
And now, from the National Archives of Public Planning, located in the basement of his Long Beach Reference Library, the unappreciated but widely acknowledged expert on past, present, and future infrastructure planning, let's welcome Mr. Ray Mailer and his American Grid.
Welcome aboard. Good to have you here. Matter of fact, I'm really excited. I got a little hint about what you're going to be talking about today, and I'm tremendously excited. But before we talk about what really excites me, talk to me about what really excites you. You must have an angel on your shoulder, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's right. I do have an angel on my shoulder. In fact, I've got at least 25 of them sitting on my shoulder. After an incredibly difficult year with the LA Angels, the baseball team, the pitching at the beginning of the season was right on target, but they couldn't hit. Then the hitting came, but the pitching started falling apart. And then we had injuries at third base and second base, and then the pitchers. First, the starting pitchers got injured. Now the relievers are injured. And in August, the team just started looking like it was going to fall apart. They lost 19 games in August. They fell out of first place, then out of the wild card. Even Mike Trout went into a hitting slump in August. It was terrible. But, they kind of stayed reasonably close and have just been on a tear here in September. They've won 18 out of 26 games this month. And just last night, they finally got back into the wild card race. They now have the second spot. They bumped Houston, which had been in first place in the American League West for almost the whole season. And the Angels are hot and just in the nick of time.
Well, at least they don't have to use that old analogy. If it weren't for bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's how it was looking. That's how I was looking for much of the season.
Well, you know what? You sound like a happy man. You have arrived. I'm glad to hear your voice on such an upper here.
Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate it. It's always exciting to see your home team win.
Yeah.
For listeners who know me, I originally hail from Chicago, and I spent my youth watching the Cubs, which we never won. So,
the Cubs and the Bears, right?
That's right. We just never win. So
my son-in-law, when he had his first boy, got him this little stuffed animal, right? But the stuffed animal had to be named with something that would be kind of cute, right? So what he named this little stuffed animal was Cubby Bear. And he is a Californian. I mean, he's living here. He can't go anywhere else because he's got my daughter, and I'd shoot him if he tried to take her anywhere. But basically, he is a diehard Cub and Bears fan, which is a hard thing to be, by the way.
Yes.
I'm sorry I said that because I'm going to get emails. But basically, he'll travel across the country when he gets a chance to watch them play. It's just unbelievable. Are you the same way?
I have done the same. It's been quite a few years since I have. But I have traveled back to the Cubs. It's something, it just has to be part of the family. Because in no other way could you explain supporting a team that so consistently loses.
Well, it's a lesson in tenacity, I think.
That's right.
So, there is another angel on your shoulder. Are you calling to give me good news, or are you just going to tell me that all indications look good for what I'm thinking?
All indications look good for the Angels. We'll have 5 more games left in the season. They would have to finish, probably win 3 or 4 of the remaining 5 games.
The worst thing that could happen is that everybody starts talking about a freeway series again.
Right. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's just.
Because it is never going to happen, and there's like a jinx on it.
Yeah, that's right. And besides, even if there were one, we'd all be stuck in traffic. So we'd all miss the game.
We'd all have to watch it on TV.
We'd all be getting off the Friday freeway to the nearest bar and watch it there.
Yeah, only the out-of-towners would be able to get into the stadiums. So anyway, talk to me about the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, sometimes life throws unexpected opportunities right into your lap, and mine occurred yesterday. I was at a luncheon for the International Right-of-Way Association, and I'm one of the officers there, and I was sitting at the dais, and sitting right next to me was our featured speaker. His name is Mitch Englander, and he is the LA City Council member from the 12th District. Anyway, while we were letting others speak, he asked me a few questions about right-of-way, and I obliged him about it. And he proceeded then, shortly thereafter, to make an excellent presentation about infrastructure in Los Angeles. We cited the importance of local transportation infrastructure, noting that LA has as many street lanes as go all the way around the world.
Oh, really?
So if we lined up all our streets in a single lane, or just in the city of LA alone, they would go around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just amazing. And his point was, you don't take care of that much street infrastructure, kind of on the side. That's a huge task to try to keep up with the potholes and make sure the traffic signals are working and the lights are all on, etc.
Yeah, well, we know they're not doing that.
No, yeah, as the front end of my car will attest.
Well, at least when you hit one of those potholes, it doesn't become a sinkhole and drown you.
Well, yeah. Well, all right. We'll count ourselves fortunate that hasn't happened. But, so you never know. It might be on top of a fault line, and then we've got a whole other problem.
Yeah. It'll be one of those secret ones that nobody knew about before.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Englander did do a nice job of fielding questions from the audience, and one of them asked if LA was developing any new water sources. And Mr. Englander responded that nope, we have no plans to build any new water infrastructure.
Oh, that figures.
At least as regards the city itself. But he did use that to segue into the state's overall water needs, which the city would then purchase a lot of water from the state.
Oh, by the way, do you listen to nighttime television? I can't remember who it was that said this, and I wish I could remember it so I could give him the credit, but I'm going to say it as though I had said it, even though it wasn't me. And that is that I think it's just so amazing that the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and NASA has found water on Mars, but they can't find any water for California.
Right. although apparently it's salt water on Mars, and if we just had a desalination plant, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, I knew I moved right in the middle of what you were going to say. So.
Well, I appreciated the tangential thought there. If it costs us $2 billion to build a desal plant here in Southern California, I wonder what the cost is to build it on Mars.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so Mr. Englander took a point of mentioning the state's efforts underway, and he presented the following question. We all know about the state's high-speed rail program, where we're in the process of spending $60 or so billion to build this high-speed rail. Mm-hmm. And he asked, what if we had decided to spend $60 billion on water infrastructure instead? And he kind of the reality is, we float around that $60 billion number, but as far as the state is concerned, we, the voters, only authorized $10 billion for high-speed rail back in 2008, and about $7.5 billion for water infrastructure just last year in 2014. The big difference is that high-speed rail has the opportunity for a lot of federal matching and private investments under public-private partnerships. The state water projects, do have the capability of drawing federal money, mm-hmm. but not much private investment. But his whole interest, he kind of, Mr. Englander kind of drew a comparison of, today would we, the voters, have chosen to approve high-speed rail over water, or would we have cheerfully voted for a water infrastructure, big water infrastructure bond? And I think he's right. High-speed rail was something we authorized in 2008. These days, given the same opportunity, if we had to make a choice, we'd probably say we'll take water over the rail system.
Well, any reasonable, intelligent individual would make that choice. Now what they're going to have to do is put water bags on the sides of the train so that when it gets over there toward Boulder Dam, they can fill the water bags and bring it back to California.
Yeah.
And they'll just have multiple trips every day, right?
Well, is that not why we're building the other high-speed rail to Las Vegas?
I think that is it.
I heard that it's making a little southerly jaunt alignment down toward Lake Mead.
Well, even if we have the one going up north, I mean, if you think about it, if we just park that train right there at the base of the Sierra Nevadas and just let some of that just pack some of that snow on the top of that train and put catchers in there to bring that water south.
I think that's an excellent idea. We should do that as well.
Having said that, we are time for a commercial. Let's talk some more about this when we get back from the commercial. Is that okay with you?
That sounds good to me.
All right, we'll be right back with our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy Ray Mailer with his American Grid. We're talking about the tremendous amounts of California water. No, we were talking about California water. We were talking about high-speed rail. I think we were going to talk about the Olympics, but we were actually talking about if Californians would spend the same amount of money that they're going to spend on this high-speed rail, would they spend that on water today? And I think Ray and I both agree they'd probably go for the water.
Yeah, indeed. And the final thing I wanted to talk about, regarding this high-speed rail and water issue is, we've had another big change in our federal government that may have very local impact here in California. I'm sure you know that John Boehner chose to resign as Speaker of the House, and the heir apparent is Kevin McCarthy from Bakersfield. And he has been very vocal in his opposition to the high-speed rail project, calling it a boondoggle. And, what's not clear is, just how much he would move to try to undermine, what is already a project well underway. But the one thing he does clearly support is federal investment in water projects for the state. So I'm kind of curious to see if a Speaker McCarthy may help augment our already approved state bonds for water projects.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Ray. I would think that Kevin McCarthy, and he seems like he's going to be a shoo-in for Speaker. I'm not sure how he was able to accomplish that in such a short amount of time with such little experience, but he's hit the right places. I would think that he would be afraid to do too many things in opposition to the well-being of the citizens of the state of California, because it wouldn't take much for him to be removed as Speaker if he was removed as a representative.
Well, that's true. That's true. I don't have a good fix on how popular he is in his home district in Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
That is always one of the great challenges of holding kind of a national level position like Speaker of the House or majority leader. Yet you are beholden to the couple million people who are your constituents. And it's an interesting irony. So of course, he will need to keep the folks in Bakersfield happy.
Yeah, and isn't it ironic? I mean, and I need to be careful about the way I say this, but I find it ironic that the community of Bakersfield, which is primarily a farming area, Bakersfield's got a nice little town there, but basically it's a farming area, that those people now are going to be able to control an awful lot of what goes on in Washington, D.C.
Indeed. It's a little bit like being an Iowa voter and basically getting to pick your president.
Yeah. I mean, a scary thought. If you live in San Diego or Los Angeles or San Francisco, even Fresno, for that matter, and you start to realize that in this state with 33 million plus people in it, that we're all going to be reliant upon the citizens of that one congressional district in Bakersfield that is going to provide us with a Speaker of the House.
Yeah, indeed. And, the choices he makes, are going to have big impact, not only for the whole country, but really very specifically in California.
Yeah.
Water being a huge issue for us. Maybe in a much longer term perspective, high-speed rail, perhaps is a very important advance for the state. That would remain to be seen, and we certainly would hope for great success with the project.
Yeah, you want an XL pipeline, you want to have a bridge in your state, you want to have a new dam going on. You know what? We need a pipeline with water to flow from the east to the west. How about you guys getting on board with us?
And that'd be great. I mean, let's negotiate it. Let's get those land rights. And let's just take it right off the Missouri and the Mississippi River.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, I for some reason, I know that I've probably taken you off in another one of those strange tangents again.
Yeah. Well, getting to the Olympics, which I know you were interested in talking about.
Yes.
As you can imagine, LA City Councilman Miss Englander was also very interested to talk about the Olympics. And basically, he told me a little bit about how this whole thing is structured. One of the important things he mentioned that I don't think was well reported is that while there was definitely interest on part of the city and the county to avoid financial liability should this result in a cost overrun, apparently the deal that was made was not with the USOC or the IOC that to manage the city's risk for cost overruns, but actually with the nonprofit entity that's going to host the Olympics. It's an organization called LA 2024, and they have assumed responsibility for delivering an on budget sort of Olympics. And so I thought that was quite noteworthy. That certainly makes me much more comfortable as a taxpayer.
Oh yeah.
That there are quite a few other parties that could absorb a loss should there be one. Now that being said, Mr. Englander directed me to basically how we propose, or LA 24 proposes, that these Olympics be funded. And I found this fascinating. I wonder if you have any idea how an Olympics gets funded?
Well, I'm guessing it's through advertisers.
Yeah, that's a piece of it. The basic breakdown is this. So the International Olympic Committee actually provides 31% of the funding at $1.5 billion. There are domestic sponsorships that account for another 30%. And I assume this might include, remember how McDonald's has been a major sponsor of all Olympics in recent memory?
Oh, yeah. Well, didn't McDonald's actually provide the Olympic pool at the last Olympics?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, McDonald's and other domestic sponsorships like that are supposed to total up to $1.4 billion, or almost another third of the money.
Yeah. Wow.
Ticket revenues, I didn't realize it was quite that big. Ticket revenues are supposed to be good for another 24% at $1.2 billion. And then they've got a whole bunch of smaller categories that provide 1 to 5% more of the funding, including the torch run.
Oh, that's right. Have you ever seen that? That's really interesting to see how they do it in segments, and it's really fun to watch these guys, pass the torch. I don't know how far they go. I think they go maybe a quarter of a mile. They try to sell quarter of a mile segments, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, it's fun to watch, and I'm glad to see it's a good way to raise revenue for the Olympics. Some of the other small categories, licensing, donations. Apparently, Paralympics ticket revenue, is a measurable amount that they get. Disposing of the assets after the Olympics and private naming rights. So that's basically where you get the money to draw these. But the three biggies are the IOC comes through, domestic sponsorships, and ticket revenue.
Well, do you have any idea of how monetarily we did on the last Olympics? Did we actually come out ahead of the game, or did we lose some money?
In the LA Olympics, 84?
Yeah.
We ran a profit.
Yeah.
We ran a profit. Yeah, and again, I'm guessing there was probably a similar nonprofit that kind of oversaw it, that was headed by Peter Uberlaw.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to Miss Englander, I think a name we're going to hear much more often is Casey Wasserman. And Englander describes him as he is the next Peter Uberlaw. He's going to run a successful Olympics, and we should have high expectations of him.
Well, I think that'll be the test, and if he fails, he needs to pick up the shortfall.
Yeah, and apparently that's what's in the agreement between the city and probably the county and this LA 24 organization. So, well, I find it so fascinating, Ray, to think of, what they're already doing, the planning, which means they've got to be thinking about infrastructure and all kinds of changes and traffic and signals and security and all these things, plus the construction. They're thinking about all these things that hasn't even been approved yet. When it does get approved, they have a short window of time to really put it all together, and then they've got to make a profit at it. So they've got to figure out what are they going to do with all of these facilities in venues after the Olympics, after that 2 weeks are gone. Right. Well, and that's one of the most distinct things about Los Angeles compared to just about any other city in the world, which is we are rich in venues. And so basically these investments have been made over decades. And we just have in mind to, with minor modifications to maybe revitalize certain of these venues, but just reuse them so we don't have brand new construction costs. In fact, one of the interesting line items on this proposed budget is that, which I think is also unique to LA, is we have venue rental costs.
Yeah.
And that's, and compared to all the other numbers, it's cheap.
I remember the shooting venue was out here at Guasti Park in the Chino area. By the time people drove from LA to there, they could have gone to San Diego. So what precludes us from just using, the stadiums in San Diego if we want to?
That's an excellent idea. That's an excellent idea. There was some movie that came out a long time ago that spoke of the eventual merger of all the cities from Santa Barbara to San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of already there.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're an hour and a half. You were an hour and a half from Santa Barbara, from San Diego, from San Bernardino to Orange County to Anaheim. You could actually put these venues any place you want, because anybody that comes in, if they just park themselves somewhere in Orange County, they're only an hour and a half at most from any of the venues.
Indeed, yeah, I agree with you, and that's one of the patterns I see in business. Especially Orange County. If you're kind of focused on LA, Riverside, and San Diego, Orange County is right in the middle of all of it. The access to all three other areas is pretty simple.
Yeah, well, we were talking about a freeway series, right? Well, what would happen if you had a freeway Olympics? And all of a sudden the city of Los Angeles didn't necessarily have to shoulder the entire expense. Maybe they did a joint venture Olympics between San Diego and Los Angeles. That's really a close enough venue that nobody has this tremendous financial burden in case they fail.
You raise an excellent point, and I kind of wondered about that. All the venue sites are kind of preliminary, and I think there will be final decisions made. I do know that our own mayor of Long Beach immediately made a call to LA's mayor, Eric Garcetti, and said, by the way, down here we have a few facilities you might be able to use. I would imagine there's a certain amount of horse trading and risk sharing that's going to happen. That may be a key part of how these Olympics pan out. I seem to recall in the '84 games there were a number of venues deep in Orange County, as well as in Ventura County, and thank you for reminding me of the venues in the Inland Empire. I don't see why we couldn't spread it all around. Right now, I think most of the venues are actually relatively close to each other. But I think the one potential downside is that, if you go too far away, then you kind of wonder about where you locate the Olympic Village.
Yes, you're right. But I mean, let's just, because we've only got a minute left, but let's just say that we share the Olympics, San Diego and Los Angeles, and you put the Olympic Village in Laguna Beach.
Oh, the athletes would love it.
But they might not even show up for the competition. Let's keep working with this. Okay, so they're at the Village in Laguna Beach, and you need an efficient way to get them down to San Diego. The train.
Can you imagine them? Yeah, take the train, and you go right down the coast. You have a beautiful view of the ocean on the way to your competition.
You can have workout cars on the train, right?
Exactly.
Warm up cars. Hey, man, you and I ought to be organizing this thing.
Let's go make a call to Casey Wasserman and tell him we've got some great ideas.
Yeah. Anyway, my buddy, believe it or not, we are out of time. This has been fantastic, and I love it when you're on the air.
Oh, and I'll tell you, I've had a ton of fun. Thank you for letting me talk about the Angels. It has been a thrill to watch what they're doing.
Well, matter of fact, you know what? I think that every Wednesday we need to have an Angel update from you.
Okay. All right. Next week.
All right, buddy. You have a great one. Take it easy. Stay safe on the way home. Don't forget to give that lovely wife of yours a hug and a kiss from me, will you?
Will do.
All right. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we got the birthdays of the day, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away, or I'll come looking for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now, you know what today is, right? You know it's Wednesday, September the 30th. Well, you know what? It's more important than that. It's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. And you know what? This person, I think we all know her. She was born in 1957. Film and television actress, comedian, screenwriter, TV director, producer, author, activist, and political lobbyist. Best known for playing Fran Fine on the television series The Nanny. Happy birthday, Fran Drescher. It's also Jenna Elfman's birthday, model, and we'll see what happens with that. But let's talk about what happened on September the 30th today in history in 1947. The World Series featuring the New York Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers is televised for the very first time. And today in 1968, here's a biggie for you. The Boeing 747 is rolled out and shown to the public for the first time at the Boeing Everett factory in Washington. And finally, in 2004, the first images of a live giant squid in its natural habitat are taken 600 miles south of Tokyo. Well, got a good quote for you today. It's from Theodore Roosevelt. We call him Teddy. He says, "Whenever you are asked if you can do a job, tell them, certainly I can. Then get busy and find out how to do it." Well, you know what? That's how I actually started my career out. That was good advice then. That's good advice now. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. And you've heard me say it many times. This is all about a positive mental attitude. Well, the secret today is get clear on the weight that you want to be. We're talking about your weight now. Have a picture in your mind of what you will look like when you've become that perfect weight. Get pictures of yourself at your perfect weight, if you've got any like that, and look at them often. If not, get pictures of the body that you would like to have and look at those often. You know what? It's that mental picture and that positive mental attitude that's going to make it happen, folks. I promise you. I would never lie to you. It'll happen. Well, let's talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is know when to speak up about an ethical issue. Sometimes you sense that something isn't right at work. Maybe you suspect that a finance colleague is fudging numbers or that a coworker often sneaks out early. How do you know if it's worth speaking up? Here are some tips for these tricky kind of situations. Consider what's really at risk. If a coworker leaves early, ask yourself why that bothers you. Is the issue important to the company or only to you? Or understand people's motivations. Before assuming the worst, try to learn why it's happening. Your colleague might be fudging the numbers because he's afraid of losing his job. Or talk to the perpetrator first. Before taking the problem to your boss, give the person a chance to explain. Ask questions rather than accusing. And then finally, escalate when necessary. If needed, share what you've learned with your boss and be open to new information that might change your perspective on the situation. That's what you want to do. That's where you want it to be. Well, it is time for our segment, Interesting but Useless Facts. So let's get right to it. Did you know the human brain stops growing at the age of 18? So that brain's not going to get any bigger after you reach 18 years of age. But by then, hopefully, you are starting to pack it well. Just keep that in mind. Speaking of that, intelligent people have more zinc and copper in their hair. Now, that is a scary thought because I am as close to being totally bald on the top as you can get. So I would like to think of myself as maybe having all that zinc and copper on the hair that grows on the side of my head. At my age, I can grow hair everywhere except the top of my head. So give that some thought. How about this? Do you know a jiffy is an actual unit of time? For 1/100th of a second, that's a jiffy. So when somebody says, hey, I'll be there in a jiffy, there is not a chance unless they're standing right next to you. How about this one? And just listen to it. False teeth are often radioactive. Approximately 1 million Americans wear some form of denture. Half of these dentures are made of porcelain compound laced with minute amounts of uranium to stimulate fluorescence. Without the uranium addictive, the dentures would be a dull green color when seen under artificial light. Well, we ought to ask our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell about that radioactive. That's kind of interesting. I think, we will ask him about that on Friday, see what he has to say about it. And did you know that the average woman spends 1 year of her lifetime trying to decide what to wear? Give that some thought. Yeah. Let's just leave it there. Did you know that the honeybee kills more people worldwide than all the poisonous snakes combined? Now, there's, bee stings. Give that some thought. Isn't that interesting? The honeybee kills more people worldwide than all the poisonous snakes combined. Wow. I think it's partly because the honeybee comes after you and the snakes go away, or they try to. Did you know that the first cell phone was invented in 1924? So you got to ask yourself, why on earth did it take so long to get to us? And let's leave you with this one. If humans had the same metabolism as a hummingbird, they would have to intake 150,000 calories a day. Now tell me that's not interesting. Go for it. That's all I can say. Just go for it. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be answering your emails. My first email comes from Charles Leon from Los Angeles, California. He's asking about mortgage interest, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time, currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy John Matthews is waiting in the wings. He's going to go live on the air in about 8 minutes with his conservative syndicate. You know what? You want to listen to him. And don't forget that tonight I'll be on the air with him about 6:15. Hey, John, what's on the agenda for tonight?
Well, we are going, as you know, on our show, we like to exhaust topics. We like to take things that are really relevant, things that are a lot of times on a lot of other shows are just 5-minute sound bites in between commercials. But we really like to take topics and issues apart, and we're going to continue an ongoing theme that we've been doing with Planned Parenthood. We've probably spent 8 to 10 hours on our show just talking about Planned Parenthood. Tonight, we're going to talk about the constitutionality of defunding Planned Parenthood. There's some things that have come to light that are going to really kind of, I think, would interest people in understanding what Congress can and cannot do and what Planned Parenthood can and cannot ask for. So that's going to be our main topic. Of course, then we're going to get back over to some of the really important stuff as far as the Hillary Clinton campaign. We're going to talk about how she's trying to make herself look like not Obama and not Bernie Sanders. So,
you know what? I can't hardly wait to hear that definition.
Yeah, well, it's comical. If it wasn't so important to the country, we would be laughing like crazy. But so people want to catch us, just go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and at 5 o'clock out here on the West Coast, 8 o'clock on the East Coast, go to theconservativesyndicate.net, click on the site, and the show will open up for you automatically. You don't have to do anything.
And don't forget, folks, my good buddy John Matthews, he broadcasts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time at theconservativesyndicate.net. Hey, John, I'll be talking to you in a few minutes, and then I'll talk to you again tonight during the show.
All right. No, take care.
All right, buddy. Take care. All right. So it's time for me to actually get into the emails for today. And the first email that I've got for today actually comes from Charles Leon from Los Angeles, California. He's asking about mortgage interest. He says, if mortgage interest he says, is mortgage interest deductible under alternative minimum tax? That's AMP, for AMT rules. Are long-term capital gains taxed under the AMT? That's a great question, Charles. Interest paid on a loan used to acquire or improve a home is deductible under AMT rules, but interest on home equity borrowing used for other purposes like a vacation is not deductible under the AMT. Now, long-term capital gains are taxed at the same rate under AMT as under normal rules, but capital gains may push total taxable income up beyond the AMT exempt amount of $58,000 on joint returns and $40,750 on single returns. Now, the figures that we haven't got the new figures that are going to be out here for 2016 yet, but those are the figures right now. Now, it also might increase state income taxes, which are not deductible under the AMT and may create AMT liability. So, capital gains may indirectly create an increase in AMT liability. So you want to be careful. As I've always said, always contact a licensed professional. You'll be glad you did that because they're going to be right on top of it, and they have errors and omissions insurance. If they give you the wrong advice, they pay the piper. That lets you sleep at night. And that's what I think anyway. Anyway, so about the next email comes from Kyle Lucas from Mesa, Arizona. He's a lottery winner. Hallelujah and congratulations. He says, if I win a lottery that pays $50 million over 20 years, then die after 2 years, is the remaining part of the $50 million subject to estate tax? How would my estate pay all that tax when the payments will only come in over the remaining 18 years? Well, good question, Kyle. And here's the answer. The current value of all the future payments is subject to estate tax when you die. And finding the money to pay that tax can be a real problem when most of the payments won't actually arrive until well into the future. The simplest solution is to buy a life insurance policy that'll cover the taxes if you can. Or make an arrangement with the IRS, which is unlikely. But the best bet, elect a cash payment instead. You're always going to be better off. Consult with an insurance, tax, and financial expert, the licensed people we've been talking about before, who can plan out the best strategy for you. I tell you all the time, always use a licensed professional. They're going to save you more money than they're going to cost you, and you'll be glad that you used them. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be our own John Matthews with his series, The Conservative Syndicate, and my special guest, Sean Lefebvre, with his series, Geared for Wellness. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you to stay safe, I want you to stay healthy, and I want you to make everyone's life that you touch a little better for it. Good night, everybody.